Hola, buenos días, bienvenidos a mi clase de español de hoy. Casi en directo. En directo means live. So if you wanted to say, guys, live music, for example, it would be música en directo. And casi means nearly or almost. So when I say casi en directo, I mean nearly live or almost live. So these videos are my attempt at delivering a class to you as close to the real thing as I possibly can. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? How are you going? How's it going? Yo estoy muy bien. Perdón. Yo estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? So, this video, episode 0, episodio cero, is very much me talking to you about the kind of overall picture of what we're doing with future study and work and the point of doing this topic area, and crucially how I want you to use the video resources and the other resources that I'm going to show you now to learn what you need to learn. So I've given this a lot of thought, which is why I'm actually a lot later in delivering these videos than I wanted to be. So the first thing to say is that unlike the self, family and friends videos that I've been doing for you, the future study and work videos, each episode will have 2 videos. Okay, so episode 1, for example, will have what I call a workout video. All right, now when I say workout, what I really mean by that is it's you practicing the language that I want you to learn, okay, through various activities which I will show you. So one of the videos is about you using the language, and the other video will be allied to that or linked to that, a grammar and language instructional type video. So if for example in episode 1 I'm getting you to learn content that involves you speaking a lot in the present tense, the grammar video that will go with it will be me talking to you about the structure of the present tense and how you form the present tense, tricks of the trade, if you like, on how to remember these things, because it's not easy, and so on. So each episode will have 2 videos. It will have a workout video and a grammar video. So that's the first thing to note. At this point, I also want to say to you that future study and work as a topic area, a GCSE topic area, is, I think, more challenging than things like self, family and friends, which is relatively straightforward. There's a variety of reasons why it's more challenging. One is that you have to have quite a lot of specialist vocabulary for future study and work, which maybe you don't need so much for self, family and friends, or maybe things like holidays, arguably, that type of thing. So this is a slightly more challenging topic in my view. Okay. So this video is about me giving you the kind of big picture of what we're trying to achieve with future study and work. So what is the goal? Okay, what am I trying to do? Future study and work. So what are the questions that I want you to be able to answer in Spanish, either in written form, if you were in the GCSE and you were asked to write an essay about your future plans for study and work, what responses can I give you to help you to answer those questions? So basically, what is the content of this particular topic? Now, at this stage, I'm going to quickly come out of this PowerPoint and I'm going to show you a selection of questions that I've chosen around this topic that we can prepare answers for. So we'll whiz through these very quickly in English. So question 1, for example, might be, do you have a part-time job now? Question 2, what household tasks do you do normally? Okay, so this is all you talking about what you currently do, present tense. Okay. In the GCSE, you will only gain maximum marks in your speaking and your writing parts of the exam if you use at least three tenses really. So that means present tense, past tense, future tense of some sort. And the other aspect to it is opinions. You have to be able to give an opinion about things. And I've done all the thinking for you here in terms of the questions that I've selected to ask you, potentially, will cover all those things. So, do you have a part-time job now? What household tasks do you do normally? Present tense, okay? Blue tends to be, for me, the coding on the questions when you see it is future. So, let's say you've answered to question 1, no, I don't have a part-time job at the moment. Then I might ask you later on, are you going to look for a part-time job in the future? In which case now you'd have to switch to some sort of future tense or some sort of structure that will allow you to talk about your future plans. Past tense now, it's a light green question. Did you do work experience last year? So if you're in year 11, for example, when you're preparing your questions, your responses to these questions, the answer will definitely be yes, I did my work experience, and then we can expand on what you did. Now we've got an opinion type question. I think that doing work experience is important. What do you think? Or what do you think of going to university? An opinion question. Or I think it's important to learn a foreign language. What do you think? So here are 3 examples of questions where I'm inviting you to give an opinion. And then because this topic area is bound up with your future plans for work and study, I might ask you this type of thing. Would you like to do a gap year? And a gap year is traditionally a year when you're not working or studying, where you perhaps take some time out to travel. Having said that, often in a gap year you might do some sort of voluntary work, or you might do a little job to keep yourself ticking over financially as well. But it's usually the idea of travelling abroad somewhere. So, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, it could be that you want to go and do some wildlife project up in Scotland in a gap year. It's a general term. Allied to that, would you like to do voluntary work in the future? What other ambitions do you have? So these blue coloured questions are usually inviting you to speak in the future tense. So this is what future study and work looks like as a GCSE topic. These are the type of questions that we're going to be answering. Okay, so back to the PowerPoint. What resources have I come up with for you? First of all, you've got these videos. So you'll have, as I've said, if it's episode 1, you'll have 2 videos. You'll have a grammar video where I talk to you about the language and the grammar and the structures that you will need to know in order to answer these questions. And then there will be the workout video, which is me getting you to practice the stuff more. Okay. I've also prepared I've called it a booklet, a vocabulary booklet, but it is only basically 2 sides of A4, and I'm going to show you that now as well. So as I say, it's not a booklet because I've managed to get all this onto just 2 pages. So you will see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tables of, I think, 10 phrases in Spanish that are the sort of things that you will need to do really well in the topic of future study and work. And as usual, guys, there is a memorize course that links completely to this. So you've got 8 levels on paper printed as a booklet, and then if we go to memorize itself here, I'll go back actually to show you where this is located, hopefully. Right, so if I go to groups, you don't need to do all this, but if I find you, year 10s as a group, and by the way, at this stage I should have mentioned this, but this course is really aimed at year 10s, current year 10 group, And year nines, if you who want to sort of stretch themselves, who feel like they're working within themselves at the moment and could do with something a bit more challenging. But for now, I'm addressing this to year 10s, but year 9s, it'd be great if you can do this as well. So let me just find year 10. So here we go. 10C, Spanish, 2019-20. That's you. And at the bottom of the list is RV Span Future Study and Work. Click on it. You will see 8 levels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these 8 levels correspond completely with the 8 tables that are in the printed version, all of which I will make available to you. All right, so again, back to the PowerPoint. So resources for you, videos, booklet plus the Memorise course, and I will try and get this onto Quizlet as well. And finally, something that I really would urge you to use, I will produce little short audio recordings, just audio, which probably won't be much more than a minute or a minute and a half each, and what I've called a talk prompt sheet, which links to those audios as a way of you really gaining some fluency in the language, and I'll show you how that works shortly. And the overall idea of this is that episode 1, for example, will correspond to question 1. Again, let's just go back to the sheet here. So episode 1 will be me looking at generic responses to the question, do you have a part-time job now? So what I will do is I will give you general responses, or texts if you like, as a guide to the type of thing you could say in the exam, either written or spoken, to that question. Okay, so that's what episode 1, for example, will focus on, question 1. Okay, so just going back now, the audio that goes with episode 1 will be me saying these generic responses to you. And if I just now show you as an example the sort of responses that we would like maybe to use, or I want you to use, in response to that first question, do you have a part-time job? Here are the 2 generic sort of texts that we're going to work with. Obviously, guys, at a later stage, you can change this so that you make it true for you. Now, experience in the past has taught me that many of you do not have part-time jobs these days, and that may well be because it's very difficult to get a job at the moment. Maybe because at the moment there's, as I say, there's no jobs available, and also because I think you guys tend to sort of want to focus a bit more on your GCSEs and your study. So the answer that you might want to give in English, you obviously wouldn't be giving it in English, you'd be saying this in Spanish, is, now I do not have a part-time job, however I have to do various household tasks at home, blah blah blah. Or you might want to say, currently, or at the moment, I have a part-time job. I work as a waiter in a local restaurant, or I work as a shop assistant in a clothes shop, or whatever it is that you do as a part-time job. So episode 1, when we start on that proper, will be me training you to give a nice, smooth, fluent answer to that sort of question. Initially, we will work on these general responses, and then later on we can tweak it. So if, for example, you actually have a part-time job where you work in a cinema, or you have a part-time job where you work in, I don't know, a garden centre or something like that, whatever it is that you do, I can supply you with the Spanish, and we can personalise these and make them more true for you. So, and there's the Spanish that we'll be working towards you learning. So, in terms of explanation, this is how I want you to learn and this is really important. So this says, for example, FSW, Future Study and Work, Audio 1. Okay, now many of you have seen this sort of layout before from me. So what we have here is we have the phrases in English that I want you to be able to say in Spanish, and alongside these phrases you've got the first letter only of the Spanish words in order that you would need to say this in Spanish. So let me explain. By the way, I've put here, because I will give you access to these PowerPoint slides so that you can work from the slide. You could print them off if you prefer as well. But if you're on a computer, you can use the up and down arrows just to do what I'm about to show you. So up arrow will bring up the Spanish, and if I hit the down arrow it gets rid of it. Oops, sorry. Let's go back. So down arrow brings up the Spanish, and I can go backwards using the up arrow here on my keyboard to bring this in and out. So as a way of learning, it's very effective. So can I remember how to say no, I do not have? Here's my clue. A-N-T. And the answer is ahora no tengo. Many of you will know that already. Ahora no tengo. A part-time job, and here's my first letter clue, UTATP. So it will be un trabajo a tiempo parcial. All right, so first letters clues here to the Spanish, and underneath you can move the Spanish in and out as you wish. If you printed this slide off, you could just simply cover this bottom section and basically do a cover speak check type of arrangement. Episode 1's actually got two audios attached to it. It's got this one, which is where you might want to respond if you don't have a part-time job, and audio number 2 is an example of the sort of thing you might say if you do have a part-time job. And the idea, guys, is that into the process of learning this, you're learning words like waiter, you're learning words like shop assistant, you're learning how to say a clothes shop, and so on. So you're learning Spanish all the time that you're doing this. And this one's exactly the same sort of deal. Underneath you see you've got your Spanish. So currently / at the moment. Now in Spanish you can say actualmente for currently, or if you want to say at the moment, which pretty much means the same thing, it's de momento. So you're going to learn a lot of Spanish in the process of doing this, and I think that you'll learn the Spanish quickly through this technique. So finally, the audio that I refer to here will be a short audio file which I will have made for you, and the audio file will go along the lines of this. You'll plug yourself in, get the audio onto your mobile phone is probably the easiest thing to do. Plug yourself in with your earphones, your auriculares, and what you'll hear on the audio that goes with this particular text is me saying something in English and then something in Spanish. So it will go along the lines of, you'll hear currently / at the moment, then a pause while you try to remember the Spanish, and look, you've got the clue in front of you in terms of the first letters, and then you'll hear me say after a pause, actualmente, de momento. Then you'll hear me say, I have a part-time job. Again, I'll pause slightly on the recording, but you can pause the recording, obviously the audio, and you'll look at the first letter clues and you'll try and remember how you say that in Spanish, and it would be tengo un trabajo a tiempo parcial. So this is going to be your main activity for learning the Spanish, and I think it will be super effective for you. So nearly there in terms of describing the process on this. How will you know effectively that you've completed Let me just find my slide. If I can just find this for you. Okay, so I was trying to find a particular slide to illustrate this to you, but if you want to know whether you've successfully completed episode 1, for example, there's a simple question you can ask yourself. Given the English, so here's the 2 little responses that I want you to learn will want you to learn for episode 1. Given the English, could I say the Spanish without hesitation, nice and fluently, and understand what it is that I'm saying in Spanish? So if you're able to do that, and here's the Spanish equivalents, you know that you've successfully completed that episode. And this will actually feed directly into your GCSE speaking and writing exams, okay? And you will learn a lot of Spanish into the process. So I think that there actually isn't much more that I want to say about all of these things. The next video that I produce will actually be the workout video for episode 1. So I'll be talking to you about those responses that I've just shown you in a bit of detail. You also need to look, when you see my videos in YouTube, you need to look underneath at the description. So you'll see it says Mr. Vincent, and underneath, do check that there aren't any links underneath, because what I will do is I will give you the links to things like the PowerPoint slides that you need and the audio recordings that you need, so that you just have to click on them underneath the actual YouTube video and you can access them and download them for yourselves. So that should make life really easy. We talked about Memrise. As I said, there's an 8-level course in there which you can just do on its own as a sort of separate side issue. And I know that there's a couple of people who have already started doing future study and work. I think Jess has started, so well done, Jess. And I think somebody else has as well. Let me just have a quick look. Sorry, I'm wrong on that. Honey has started doing it, and somebody called Rusty A23 has, and I think that might be Mr. Del Rosario. I'm not sure. So well done for getting started, guys, and for spotting that. When I do my weekly roundup next week, because I didn't do one this week, it was bank holiday, it was bank holiday week, I will probably put a leaderboard up for this particular course as well. I think that's about it. So hopefully you've understood where I'm going with this and what's required. You can always email me through class charts if you've got any questions that you need me to answer, and I will get back to you. That's just about it for this. Episode 1 will be coming up pretty quickly. I've prepared the content for it, so it may even be later today. Hasta luego. Adios.